I've been using the Pixel 10 Pro as my daily driver for over 6 months now, and to be honest, a lot has changed in that time. On the one hand, the Pixel has received several software updates that have genuinely improved the device, but on the other hand, a lot of exciting new phones have hit the market, making it really hard for me to fully recommend this phone anymore. I have plenty of good things to say, but also some criticism, so this is my honest Pixel 10 Pro review 6 months after the hype. Let's start with the good things first, and that's definitely the software. Pixel devices have always had all these little features that just make everyday life easier, things like now playing or the automatic do not disturb mode when you flip the phone face down, but those are all features we've known from Pixel devices for a while, so what about the new stuff? First up is the new Android, which was probably the only redesign last year that wasn't hated by the entire internet, and honestly I think that praise is well deserved. Google managed to make the software look better without compromising usability, and you really feel that everywhere. Just like you would expect with stock Android, the whole system adapts to your wallpaper, there are beautiful animations everywhere, and Google has absolutely perfected the haptic feedback this year. However, the biggest update over the last 6 months wasn't the redesign, but actually the Airdrop support. Google somehow cracked Airdrop and on a random Friday made the entire Pixel 10 lineup compatible. That's a real game changer for anyone who wants to switch from Windows to Mac for reasons, but it's also super practical for people who have been locked into the Apple ecosystem and want to make the switch now. Google is even taking it a step further, as Pixel devices are supposed to become compatible with FaceTime in the future, and Google announced they will be rolling out the AirDrop update to all Android devices. They even listened to some community feedback. For example, you can now customize the shape of app icons and finally remove that live widget from the home screen. Speaking of home screens, the wallpapers you've seen in my videos are available on my new site wallpaper.io. I'm putting a ton of work into this project, so thanks for all the support at launch and definitely check out the new collection. So those were the positive points about the software, now let's get into the negative ones. For example, a lot of the AI features like Magic Queue or many of the calling features are still only available in the US, and it's starting to get annoying. On top of that, Google packs in a lot of gimmicks like the camera coach that nobody really needs anyway. If I had to make a list of AI features that are exclusive to Pixel devices and that I actually use in my everyday life, it would be Best Take, the Magic Editor, ProRes Zoom, and the really good transcription. The other features are either gimmicks or things like Gemini, which you can get on all Android devices anyway. By the way, we just talked about how some features are currently only available in certain countries. It's the same deal with movies, which is why I have a few tricks for you using NordVPN, the sponsor of today's video. With NordVPN, you can change your location at any time, which is super practical in everyday life. For example, if a movie isn't available on your streaming service in your country, just ask Gemini which country has it, switch your NordVPN location, and you are good to go. That's honestly how I watch almost all my movies without paying extra. Furthermore, NordVPN protects your internet traffic, which is especially important when traveling or using public Wi-Fi, and thanks to Protection Pro, you are also protected against trackers and ads. But the best part is that you can use one account on up to 10 devices, meaning you can cover your whole family and friend group with just one subscription. With the code reviewstudios, you will get 4 extra months on top of the 2-year plan, and with the link in the video description, you will always get the best price. But enough about software, let's get to a feature I completely underestimated at release, Pixel Snap or MagSafe. At first I thought, how useful can a few magnets really be, until I looked into how much MagSafe accessories are actually out there. From stands to power banks, there's literally everything. I will put my unsponsored top 3 in the pinned comment for you, because it's really worth trying out. That's why I also hope Samsung includes this in the S26 lineup, which I will be doing reviews and even a few giveaways for on this channel soon, so now would be the perfect time to subscribe. When it comes to battery life, Pixel devices have really struggled there in the past. A lot of them had really poor battery life, and some even had swollen batteries after a while, but honestly, since this generation, that problem is basically gone. With about 3 hours of screen time per day, I easily get a day and a half, and even while traveling, I had no issues. That said, it's still not all perfect, because just like Samsung and Apple, Google still hasn't switched to silicon carbon batteries, which would have improved the battery life even further. Hopefully we'll see that with the next generation, along with some camera upgrades, because the camera actually disappointed me a bit in some areas. Sure, the Pixel 10 Pro takes great photos with the typical Pixel look, but it's also a fact that Google hasn't updated the camera hardware for 2 generations now, and you are slowly starting to notice. Because compared to my Pixel 9 Pro, I couldn't spot any difference, and overall the camera just lacks that wow factor you would get from a smartphone with a much larger sensor, for example. That said, the Pixel 10 Pro still does have one trick I found genuinely useful, and that's ProRes zoom. You can zoom up to 100x with it, and up to 50x the results are solid without looking like AI, which is great for things like city trips. As for video, I'm fairly happy. Sure, Google hasn't entered this filmmaking niche yet, unlike Apple for example, but let's be honest, who really needs all those features on a smartphone anyway? So for everyday use, the video quality is more than enough. What actually surprised me, and where Google is miles ahead of even Apple, is the low light performance with video boost. With it, the footage gets processed after recording, and in tough lighting situations it works surprisingly well. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten results like this with any other smartphone. So to draw a conclusion on the camera, it's definitely very good and has a few practical features, but I hope Google finally upgrades the sensors in the next generation. Regarding performance, many probably expected a little bit more due to the switch to TSMC, because the chip is still significantly worse than a current Snapdragon, but honestly, you don't notice that at all in everyday use, and because a lot of people asked how it might hold up in 3 years, I pulled out my old Pixel 7, and even though the Tensor G2 had massive performance and heat issues back in the day, the phone still runs completely smooth even after 4 years. So I think some other smartphone reviewers shouldn't place so much value on benchmark scores in their videos, but rather on actual everyday performance. If you agree, subscribe to my channel and join my new Discord server. It's launching in just a few days and I even have some giveaways planned. So what's my verdict on the Pixel 10 Pro after 6 months, and would I recommend it? I think yes, sure, the hardware isn't perfect, I really hope Google addresses that, and some solid competitor phones have launched in the recent months, but Google plays the software game perfectly with the Pixel 10 Pro, and the device has already dropped nicely in price. Speaking of great software, definitely check out NordVPN and join the Discord server, link is in the description. Oh, and sign up for my monthly giveaways at TechMail, don't worry, it's not AI slop. Otherwise, I will see you next week, have a great day and bye.